lot of the Pioneer girls and the Sunday school, and when you saw all of a sudden there were kids coming up saying, I want to be baptized. And that was really such a thrill to us to be able to go with them and to be with them and see them baptized, you know. And then our sing songs, things like, especially Sunday nights. That was something that we really enjoyed, was the sing songs that we had before service.
Roy and I, he was a veteran, and I married him in England, moved to Canada. And when we moved to the 6th concession, next door to the Baptist church, right next door. And the pastor comes along, and he comes to the house and he says, we'd love to have you come to our church, and if you come, we'll send a bus to get you. And we were right next door. And his wife was from Ireland. She was an Irish war bride. I was an English war bride. So we got along very well. And that was the first Baptist church that I ever went to, since I was raised an Anglican. And ever since, I've been in the Baptist church, which is only about 52 years. The same church. Now that's the truth. My daughters were all married there, and actually my family is still all there.
Once hearing the pump going, it was at midnight, and I suddenly thought, oh, the water is filling the baptistry. Threw on my trousers, dashed over. It was just up to the brim, just in time to stop it up in time. So that was one preparation for overflow baptistry service.
One incident was, I don't know about this, we used to call Pastor Roberts Chrome Dome. And so in the skit, I think my husband was supposed to be Chrome Dome. So we took foil, and we made a cover, and we put I took some stuff and put it around the edges, you know. So he was supposed to be Pastor Roberts.
Years ago, when John Roberts was pastor, he was dedicating the baby of Joan and Bill Henwick, little Jim. And well, he was just going to he just started his prayer, and the baby brought up all over his suit coat, all over him. And he handed the baby to somebody else that was on the platform, I think Bill's father. And he ran home and changed his clothes, ran home next door and changed his clothes, and was back before the prayer ended.
When the church was smaller, when Carol and I were first married, we used to get together and have potluck dinners. Well, of course, with a membership of only 100 people, it didn't matter who you sat beside. Sometimes you'd be sitting beside a senior on one side of you, and a youth on the other side of you, and a person that you're similar age across from you, but you all had something in common, and you could all knew each other, and could talk and have a good time together. Because we were such a small church and such a community, it was a lot of fun.
We always had a good group of men that were ready and willing to do just about anything in the church. When we turned the church around, it used to face the road. We turned it around to face the back. The men cut the baptistry picture out, that great big baptistry picture, cut it out, made it solid so that we could carry it and move it to the other end of the church and put it back in the baptistry. Major feat. I was just a teenager, but I watched these guys do that. It was totally amazing to see them do it. We've always done things here. The men have torn down parts of the building so that it could be rebuilt better to suit the needs of the people. We've cut down trees, and even in the building of the new building here, the men were instrumental in the amount of volunteer time given to the various aspects of the building of the church, right from clearing the property to what you see today. So the men have always been a major part of anything that's gone on here.
The Pioneer Girls was fun. I used to have the Pioneer Girls for years, and they all called me Grammy Pammy. And I know them now, like now that they're adults, grown up, kids, everything, they're still my girls. And they think so too. How's that?
Well, it was a day to be remembered. The new building was going to come, and everybody was out on the concession. All the kids, and of course it was good weather and all, and the kids were just having a ball. And the older ones, of course, just think we don't have to use all of the unfacilities that we had. So this was going to make a big, big difference for us to have this. And everybody was just thrilled.
One thing I can say, we had a good pastor. Steve was a good man. He was an understanding man. He was the family was good. The kids was nice kids, like the girls. We had a good time with Steve. Sometimes he used to come to see me up to the house. Steve never liked too much pepper. He never liked pepper. One time he used to come to see me up to the house and the greenhouse. And I used to say, Steve, you like pepper? Oh yeah, we're crazy about pepper. But I find out Steve never liked pepper. See, and I said to my wife, he said, what'd you do? I said, they don't like pepper. He said, you give him pepper? I said, you say you like it. But he said, what I used to give to him is, I used to give him stuff out of my garden. And Steve was a really good man. What do you call it? He was a good gentleman man. After I go, and we get along pretty good.
Many, many years ago, when the old church was in Flamborough Center, my dad would get up real early as a young fella and go down and stoke the stove and light the lanterns. We were cutting trees down here at the orchard, and Pete Carey came in, and him and Dad were working away with me, and he talked to Dad. He said, hey, Stoker, do you want to go get those limbs? And I looked at Dad and I said, Stoker, what is this? And he said, well, many years ago I used to stoke the stove at the church, and I got the nickname Stoker. And Pete's called me that ever since. And I always thought that was kind of an interesting story. You know, that was just another interesting story that Dad talked about going to church in the wagon, drawn by horses out behind the church. There used to be horse stalls, a little horse shed. We used to park in there, and you know, things like that. Mom played the piano and the organ for years, more years than I can remember, until she got cancer and decided not to do it anymore. But there was always something going on with the family. My cousin led the choir. My uncle sang periodically as the not so special music he used to call it, but things like that you never forget. For me, Flamborough Center Baptist Church has been home. It's been family. The people I've grown up here with are my aunts and uncles and my brothers and my sisters. So.